Welcome back to another video, guys. And today, I wanted to kind of go over the meta versus Blackwings. What does this meta look like, especially with TCG, OCG, and Master Duel? And what cards should we use to counter this meta? So, when it comes down to the meta for TCG and OCG, it's very different, obviously, and with the inclusion of Master Duel, as they're all 3 to 6 months behind each other. Master Duel being 6 months behind TCG, and TCG kind of being 3-ish months behind OCG. And OCG just recently had a ban list, which was very, very small. It was to mainly hit smaller cards that were resulting in OTKs and FTKs. Stuff with the K9 engine that they just banned, like Exceed. I don't really know what it does, but the K9 engine can basically play on the on turn 0, which is basically your opponent's first turn, and result in a burn damage combo that your opponent can't really stop. So yeah, they recently just banned that, and they banned Appaloosa, which means they'll probably ban Appaloosa in Master Duel soon, because it's a very toxic card in this format, as Malice and other link heavy or monster heavy decks that don't get locked will abuse this card. Now, when it comes down to TCG, which is something I'm much more familiar with, the top cards or the top decks in the format are going to be Malice, they're going to be Ryzeal, they're going to be Memento, and then Blue Eyes is somewhere in there. Primary Blue Eyes is somewhere in there. And Vanquish Soul is going to be coming out very, very soon for July 4th. So this is recorded prior to that. But even still, with the Vanquish Soul, K9 being the top deck in OCG, with Malice being the top deck in TCG, and Malice coming out very, very soon with what is it? With Master Duel. I believe this is the deck. Yes. So I've kind of put together a deck that would kind of relate to Master Duel's future future format when Malice or Ryzeal is released. And soon enough, when Vanquish Soul will be released, it will change the deck very, very much. So this is basically a Master Duel version, but it can also translate into some of these other formats as well. And I'll go over what the difference is between this format or Master Duel format and TCG format and OCG format, which I'm not entirely sure on, but I have an idea. So with Master Duel, at least, right now the top decks, we just had a ban list that kind of hit Snake Eye Oak and banned that, and I think that's their way of kind of killing Snake Eyes, but it's definitely going to kill interaction, but I don't know if it's going to end the deck. I think once Malice is released into Master Duel, that's when Snake Eyes are kind of going to fall down a bit, and then Blue Eyes, and then Memento, Mermail, and oh boy, there's another one. Branded. So, kind of going with the deck list, we have the 3 Vada, 3 Sujri, 3 Simoon. That's a very standard thing. This is something that I've shown a lot of times before in the past. Maxi is going to be your best friend in shutting down a lot of these decks. And what I can kind of give with this current format right now, with stuff like Branded being the top deck, Blue Eyes, and Sprite, I guess, can be up there. It's like a tier 3 deck. It's not that crazy. Is that Maxi is going to be very, very oppressive, along with Mulcharmi Fuwalos. and that's still going to carry into Malice format. However, for Walrus, it's not going to be as strong. It's going to be the third Mulcharmy. I forgot what it was. It's the Earth one, where you get to draw every time a card gets something back from Banish Zone. That's what Malice is going to be very, very good at. So I suggest once that card does come out, because it's not in Master Duel right now that I know of, you need to craft it. Also, if your deck can play Dominance Impulse, it needs to play Dominance Impulse. Impulse is such a very, very, very good card in this format, as you just completely negate the effect or activation of a card that is going to special summon. I don't know how to like word it. I'm reading it, but I'm not like translating it in my head. But when a card or effect is activated that includes an effect that special summons a monster, negate that effect. So this also works for engrave, on field, in hand, anywhere, Banish Zone. But you cannot play light, earth, or wind monsters, and wind. My apologies, for the rest of the duel. So that is a big downside. Just as Blue Eyes is going to play Purge, because it doesn't affect light, earth, or what? Sorry, it doesn't affect light, earth, or wind. It affects fire, water, and dark. So, I mean, if your deck can play Impulse, play Impulse. It's very, very good, especially playing it alongside Infinite Imperm. Because when you have a trap in the graveyard, Dominance Impulse has a secondary effect of, if you do have the trap in the graveyard, destroy the card as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I also cut down the Allure engine a bit, because it was kind of big with the amount of hand traps and then engine I wanted to play. Because as you can see, the engine is very, very standard. We still have the 3 Ash, because you need to stop Maxine anyway, or the Mulcharmies, along with Called by the Grave, which is standard. And being able to stop any hand trap or hand monster effect. And then I put Allure Dance to 2 as well, because Imperm is still very, very, very strong in this format, along with Valor. I still wanted to be able to play Chaos Allure Queen and give the second one to my opponent to stop any Imperms from them being able to activate. So say you have to play Dominus Impulse and you can't use light monsters, which would ultimately affect our Chaos Allure Queen. We can activate Alert Dance, get the field spell, and Droll basically doesn't really exist in Master Duel as of right now. Droll will become a very more popular card. TCG is in a very heavy Droll format. And I believe OCG is, because every deck list I see, they are playing Droll. And Imperm is practically not played in TCG or OCG right now, as it's just, there's no real on-field effects. It's all effects that are banish, grave, hand. So ultimately, it's not that strong right now, especially against Memento, where they just keep popping, or they have back row cards, and that's their interruptions. Almost like how Blue Eyes is right now, where they set up more back row than they do back row and in-hand effects than they do on-field effects. So yeah, and then with the field spell, you can keep adding the Allure Queen level 7, the Chaos Allure Queen, and then discard both of them to special Chaos Allure, the second Chaos Allure Queen, onto your opponent's field. Chaos Allure Queen can also help you play through Droll if you need to, so I would kind of want to keep it at 2. For TCG and OCG, I suggest you keep it at 2 as well, just because Droll is so heavy, and if you start off with Allure Dance and get the field spell after activating Impulse, and they Droll you, you're kind of screwed. Like, you have no way of being able to add to the hand. You can still discard and special on their field, but then it makes cards like Sudri dead, Moon dead, Whirlwind dead, which are a lot of your starter cards. which ultimately cuts you off from your synchro engine and being able to OTK that turn. Something else that I also changed was, since I kind of put the Allure Queen engine down, I still wanted to keep a 42 card deck because I believe that 42 cards is just perfect number between engine, because we have a lot of main engine cards, side engine, and then non-engine. So with that, I wanted to bring back 2 whirlwinds. There was a lot of times where I drew some moon and I had an empty field with another Blackwing, and I'm like, damn, if I had a second whirlwind, it would have been perfect. And that would have really changed the game and gotten me places. Like in stream the other day, last week, I went against, it's not Sprite, Crystron. Crystron's also very strong in this format as well. But I played against Crystron, and Whirlwind, I went through one Whirlwind, I drew into some moon while I had Kunai in my hand, and I'm like, dude, second Whirlwind would have gone crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then that's not it. My bad. I also took out one Blackwing Dragon and put in Nothung because I wanted to be able to extend, because I noticed I would have hands where I'd have Zephyros in my hand along with Sujiri, and I wanted to be able to get Zephyros out on the field. And yeah, because the combo isn't as strong without Zephyros in the graveyard if I don't have the Chaos Allure Queen or the Allure Dance in my hand. And then I put in Blackwing Assault Dragon to be able to have 2 on the field if I ever wanted to. This isn't as strong in Mass Duel as it is TCG, because TCG is a best of 3 format, while Mass Duel is just a best of 1. So with this, I mean, that's why I like to play Disc Potter, where I'll banish the Blackwing Dragon to make one of these, and then Disc Potter can always shuffle back the other Blackwing Dragon to have follow-up for next turn, to send Blackwing Dragon with Chinook, or make another one with Vada. And now I have follow-up with the second Assault Dragon, and that was something I noticed a lot. But even still, you can just make Blackwing Dragon on its own, or Blackwing Assault Dragon on its own, by reborning Berea Storm from the graveyard, or sending it back with Shamal and then remaking it. So yeah, that's the idea of it all. And then you have your Raid Raptor engine with the Force Strix, the Raider's Knight, the Brave Strix. Oh, hold on. The 2 Arsenal Falcons, because you're playing the Allure Queen engine, and then Rising Rebellion Falcon, along with Y Strix and SP Little Knight. You can take out the other Blackwing Assault Dragon for Ultimate Falcon, which either or is completely up to you. I just prefer the second Assault Dragon because it's more consistent to get out than it is with Ultimate Falcon. Because if you run through your entire engine of the Raid Raptor stuff, you can't go into Ultimate Falcon at all. Yeah, and I at this case, I'd rather just make Rise and Rebellion Falcon than end on Ultimate Falcon, where this can guarantee have like a whole board wipe and burn, along with being like a 5300 tower. That's almost impossible to get over. Other than that, if I were to put this into my TCG deck, I would probably I'd probably take out Imperm and put in Drolls. Drolls are very strong, and then TCG, obviously Called by the Grave would be at 1, so I take this out and have the 3 Fuwalos. Yeah, Perulia is not really good in the format right now. The only thing that it's strong against is Whitewoods, but you still get the same effect off of Fuwalos because they are always going to be synchro summoning and then bringing out synchros and all that sort of stuff. And then maybe Bestials, but Bestials would be more of a side deck thing because it greatly helps Malice, of which that's going to be going into the next format of Malice, is where you're going to see Artifact Lancia everywhere. So be prepared to not be able to banish for that turn because people are going to Lancia you. And that is going to be a very strong card where people are probably going to be playing 2 Maxi, maybe the Meows. Yep, we'll try Meows. That's the one. And then 3 Lancia, because Droll doesn't really affect Malice. It's more like other decks that are in the format right now. And Lancia is probably going to overtake your Imperm or your Dominus Impulses, or however your deck's going to be looking. But those are going to be very consistent hand traps you're going to see in the format. And then OCG is going to be pretty much the same exact thing, except Droll over Lancia. Well, yeah. The top 2 decks in OCG right now are going to be K9 and K9 Vanquish Soul and Malice. So it's going to be a difference between Lancia and Perulia and Meowls. So that's where a side deck comes in, and it becomes very, very strong. Ash is probably the weaker of the cards for the next format, as you can't really Ash anything in Malice. So you may have to cut Ash, put in something like a Crossout Designator, and put in the Lancia, because Imperm can still have some sort of a bigger effect than Ash would, as Malice is going to be constantly just banishing from the deck, not sending to grave, just banishing from the deck. So that's where something like Disc Potter is going to get a lot of value off of, because they're constantly going to be in the banish zone. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for next format regarding Malice, of which Malice is probably going to be coming by the end of the summer, since it's the end of June right now, June 24th. Yeah. Another thing I can definitely see for hand traps wise is Nibiru. Nibiru is going to be very, very strong, and because it's Malice Max C as well, Max C hits every single deck except for, what are those fucking birds called? Fluwallow, or no, Fluwanderies. Yes. But other than that, that's what you're going to be mainly looking out for. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.